Mike, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, I can hear you.
great.
I have a question regarding if we try to take off material from the generally we go to the one line diagram, or for example, we go straight to panel schedule. For example, we say, okay, we have 15 panel, then we need 15 panel, but which one is the correct way?
Okay, I was fumbling my mouse because I think I got audio coming out of here and here. So I think, Kayvon, what I heard you say, I believe, is that whenever you open up a project and there's a collection of panel schedules, and then there's a one line, what should you do first? Is that correct?
That's correct. We just, our main reference to take off is the one line diagram because it's happening most of the time. The panel schedule is missing, or sometime the information missing from one line, but I try to figure out which one is the best way.
Great. No, great question. Yeah, so we didn't speak here much about the way that these documents are put together is normally used with CAD software and build or BIM software. It's so AutoCAD or Revit are the common. And so when, and there's also versions of each, but and each of the increased versions are always getting better about database type linking all of this stuff together so that so whenever a designer places a receptacle in the model that then shows in the floor plan, that then when they circuit it, because they literally can click and say put it in this panel schedule, and whereas previously it was a lot of Excel spreadsheets. So I would say, and I'll say we as in one of those that probably have put out drawings that have tried really hard, but not always coordinated to the exact that you'd like. So there will be that case. So I guess just first saying, know that whenever we open drawings, and I know that I have this as well when I open drawings, especially from completed projects, they're pretty intimidating. And you're like, where do I start? But they were completed by humans that had a one way of doing it that may be consistent with the industry. So not uncommon that the panel schedules will first, maybe they're missing. I know that whenever I'm working with a group of engineers and trying to make sure we put out a project, I spend time with a highlighter and I'm like, highlight, I found it on the panel schedules over here and I found it in the one line and I've got to do that. And it may not even be that it isn't done. It's just that nobody dragged it and set it on the sheet. So it may be done and it may be when they're clicking away, they're looking at the panel schedule, but they never put it on the sheet. So this is, I guess, one of the first hurdles is just the human element of getting it all there. I can say the second part of it is that, and again, as the technology continues to shift, we'll get better, but all of the data that's in the panel schedule compared to what's on the one line, the one lines are generally crafted independently. When they're drawn, they're absolutely works of art in that they are independent of the panel schedule and the floor plan. They're literally dumb. I'm gonna use the word dumb as in not connected to a model and a database. So you can draw whatever you want. And then over here, you need to also pair up the design and orchestrate the project. So usually the one line is the place to be more specific, or you'll find that an engineer probably spent a lot more time paying attention to those ratings. The ratings that happen on the panel schedule are because they're end up branch circuiting devices, is that the person operating the CAD program or BIM program at the designer level versus maybe somebody who is overseeing the facilitation of the one line. So those details aren't always scrutinized as well, or yet until the design gets the final, but even then they aren't. So like matching up the details on the panel schedule to the one line is difficult. So I would say if you really had to, and of course we can't say for sure, there's so many conditions, but I would rely on the one line way more than I would rely on the panel schedules. That said, when you receive a project, the way that you decide to build the project or even bid it is that you are working with vendors and you're handing them a one line, hopefully at least the one line, and then probably panel schedules. And hopefully they give them the spec too. So really, if you're on the receiving end of things, you may also have not received all the pieces. But so I put this one line on the screen just illustrative, just to show that like in practice, usually it's exclusive to, we wouldn't show any of this. This would all just be scheduled. So you stop at the utilization, and that's when it ends up being scheduled. So you're going to show everything 3-phase and all the main panels, but any single phase or branch circuits ends up being scheduled. So I guess it's a double there, is that you'll look at the one line and know that there are branch circuits somewhere on the floor plans. So they had to, of course, be circuited to something. So at least, hopefully, the engineers putting it together put the branch panel board on the one line, so you can do like there. But it is also, especially I've seen in drawings of past generations, you can also have not any panel board shown at all, and they could just have a panel board schedule, and it shows, you know, what the main breakers are and how many branch breakers, and they don't even say which circuits or which, other than noting number 7 on the floor plan. So I don't know that exactly answered your question, Kayvon. I guess my suggestion is one line is unless there is no one line. There are some times that I see that, and I hate when I see that. Personally, I'm sad because I'm like, oh no, it's the way I can see the project. I don't even see the one line. It can be a small renovation project. There's like, it's just a panel board. Why even bother show how the panel board's connected to everything else? And then yeah, you would need to start with the panel schedule. But otherwise, if there's a one line and you see like it's confident, has any degree of confidence, I would kind of like hold that as the higher degree of truth.
Thank you, Mike. Yes, that I got my answer.
Okay, great. Okay, good question. Any other questions from the group? Okay, and that's okay. You may not have questions, and likewise tomorrow I intend on hosting, and certainly there may be others that join that didn't have time today. So there'll be opportunities then. I guess I'll just ask, and it could be asked by non-response. That'd be okay too. If hopefully I've given you the intro that you're hoping to understand about what it takes to do the consulting engineering for electrical engineer 1. Okay, well, great, thank you. Awesome, I appreciate that. We'll conclude then here now, and if anybody joins tomorrow, that's great, and I certainly welcome any of you to please reach out to me by email. I'm happy to respond just freely, because I really enjoy making sure to connect the industry. So thank you very much for your time, and have a good night.